Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope your day and your weekend are going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 4 MLB player props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. But first, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did yesterday. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my normal recap screen. Work has been kicking my ass this week. I do apologize for that, but I do want to go through a recap because, again, we do not hide from the losses. Here on the channel, we had a 5-leg Sexy Saturday parlay. It did not hit. 3 out of 5 legs did cash. Drake Baldwin cash, Ketel Marte cash, and Angel Martinez cash. Unfortunately, Wyatt Langford and Kyle Tucker did not come through for us. The Langford one, very disappointing. He went 1 for 5 yesterday, so he got out 4 times, and not a single one of those 4 outs were a strikeout, so very disappointing there. And obviously, Kyle Tucker, I think, is the most disappointing. It was minus 360. I usually don't put odds that high in a parlay. Sometimes it's those minus 300 plus ones that really screw you in the end, and that was the one. So it was unfortunate. We had a very cold week this week. No secrets about that at all. We went 4-11 so far this week in our single bet category, 0-2 on parlay. So it just wasn't a great week overall. Last day of the week. Now, some people, I guess, consider Sunday to be the first day of the week. But for me, last day of the week, let's finish it off strong. Let's try to recap some units here in our final day. Some of you might be shocked why I'm doing a video on Sunday. I mentioned it in yesterday's video. I didn't do Friday's video because of work things. So I'm doing a video today to make up for it. Don't get used to Sunday videos, though. Sunday are my day. I go to church. I also go ahead and play a little golf. It's my Sunday golf tradition. So, don't get too used to me doing Sunday videos. But I also want to make sure you guys are taken care of. I hate missing videos, so this is my makeup for Friday. So I apologize for that. With all that out of the way and all that said, guys, we got 4 picks to dive into. Some really solid player props I think we can finally turn this week around. Let's dive right into them. All right, guys, jumping right into the outlier screen. Our first player prop in today's slate comes from the Phillies-Pirates game, 1:35 p.m. first pitch. We have Paul Skeens of the Pirates under 1.5 earned runs. Now, this is a plus money play, so we're starting the video off with a little plus money player prop. Plus 105 odds over on DraftKings, but we're grabbing it for. It is available on a couple of different sports books for varying odds. All of them are plus money except for on Hard Rock and Sleeper. Underdog and Sleeper. Hard Rock plus 105. BetMGM plus 105, DraftKings, no vig, etc., etc. So plus 105, I don't know if I'd put a full unit on this one. This might be either a 3/4 unit play or a half a unit play. But for a plus money play, the data is pretty strong here. Looking at Paul Skeens, 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under. It's a 70% hit rate, averaging 1.2 earned runs per game over the last 10 games, including 5 consecutive games. He's cashed this under 100% hit rate, averaging just 0.8 earned runs per game over his last 5 games. And the Phillies actually, by the way, are included in that 5-game sample right there. He only gave up 1 run the last time these two teams played on May 18th. So good to keep that in mind. So far this year, he's started 13 games for the Pirates. He's cashed the under at 8 out of 13 games. That's a 62% hit rate, averaging 1.46 earned runs per game this season. So really solid data across the board. Even the head-to-head data the last time, again, we just mentioned it. They played May 18th. He only gave up 1 earned run in that game. And the insight provided by Outlier just kind of reiterates the same thing. 5 consecutive games, he's failed to exceed 1.5 earned runs. So really solid data across the board. A lot of green for this player prop. And looking down below, the reason why I think this is a plus money play is the fact that the Phillies overall this year have been a solid hitting team versus right-handed pitchers. You do see the batting average, OBP. They do rank in the top half of the league in both those categories. 6th best team overall this year in OBP versus right-handed pitchers. 12th in WRC+, 13th in BABIP. So really solid numbers from an overall standpoint. However, if we do narrow it down to the last 30 games, not as impressive. They actually rank in the bottom 10 in most of these key categories, except for I think BABIP. They rank 18th. So still bottom half of the league, but not bottom 10. But batting average, OBP, slugging, WRC+, they rank bottom 10 in all of those 4 categories. And in OBP, slugging, WRC+, you see 24th, 24th, and 24th. Shout out Kobe. So they have been significantly worse hitting against right-handed pitchers over the last 30 games. That obviously bodes well here for Paul Skeens. And looking at his numbers, really good numbers. I mean, 98th percentile batting average allowed, 94th percentile ERA, 95th percentile FIP, 94th percentile BA/BIP, and 97th percentile WOBA. Literally one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball in just year 2 in the league. The guy's just casually one of the best pitchers in baseball, and if you've ever seen videos of him, like, he's the most just chill, nonchalant guy. Dominates baseball and then goes home to live it done. It's crazy. Some people were just blessed in this life. But Paul Skeens, I like this prop a lot. For plus 105 too, it kind of feels like a gift. Now, it's plus 105 for a reason. Again, it is risk. The Phillies, again, overall, solid hitting team. But he already cashed this once against them this year. He's dealing absolutely this year. And the Phillies of late have not been that great. To me, as far as plus money play goes, you're not going to find one as safe, in my opinion, than this one. So I love this as the first player prop in today's slate. And by the way, guys, if you are watching today's video, please go ahead and comment what you think my score in golf is going to be. Playing a little round of 18 with my buddies today. So go ahead and comment what you think I'm going to shoot. I know I've never really talked about my golf game here on the channel too much. I want to see what you guys think my score is. And I'll make sure in tomorrow's video, I'll go ahead and tell you guys what I ended up shooting in my little round of golf today. So comment what my score, what you think my golf score would be in today's golf round, I guess. I don't know. Comment what you think I'm going to shoot in my golf round today. And as always, guys, I appreciate those who watch through each and every single video here on the channel. All right, guys, my second player prop in today's slate. Moving on to the Blue Jays and Twins game, 2:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Addison Barger of the Blue Jays over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're grabbing it for minus 135. Over on DraftKings, but again, it is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. Now, the overall data isn't fantastic here, but the recent data has been very, very strong. You see Addison Barger, 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 3.1 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. So the last 10 data is really where I'm impressed here. Now, the further you go ahead and stretch it out, the less impressive it becomes. Last 20 games, still not terrible, but 55% hit rate, averaging 2.1 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 20 games. And then again, looking at the overall season data, a 47% hit rate on this over. Just 20 out of 43 games he's cashed the over, averaging 1.77 hits, runs, RBIs per game this year. But again, you see that last 10 games, a lot of green. The rest of the season, a lot more red. Now, look at the head-to-head data. It's pretty solid. 3 of his last 5 matchups with the Twins, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.6 hits, runs, RBIs per game across the last 5 matchups with Minnesota. But most importantly, the last 2 days they've played Minnesota, he's cashed the over both times. June 6th, he had 1 hit, 1 run, and 2 RBIs. And then yesterday, he had 1 hit and 1 run. So pretty solid numbers across the board here for Addison Barger. And we also have the insights provided by Outlier, which just reiterates the same thing we just talked about, that he's exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 8 of his last 10 games. Now, looking down below at the matchup, the data for Barger is solid. The data for the matchup against Joe Ryan, the Twins pitcher, not as good, but not terrible, I guess. Let me go ahead and clarify. So Addison Barger this year having a solid year versus right-handed pitchers, you do see some increases in his numbers. The batting average and the WRC plus both increase a little bit. Not a ton, but enough to make it a solid prop. 274 batting average, 139.5 WRC plus, solid numbers. Joe Ryan, his numbers also all increase when facing off of left-handed batters like Addison Barger. The problem is that even at the increased lines, the numbers are still pretty solid in Joe Ryan's favor. Right, his ERA jumps from 291 to 313. 313 is not a terrible ERA. It's still higher than 291, but it's still not great for us. The same thing with batting average allowed. He's giving up 199 batting average allowed overall versus left-handed batters. That does increase to 220. It's a nice increase. It's better for us for sure, but it's still not as high as I'd like it to be. The same goes for WOBA. So again, their increases. It is a solid matchup somewhat. My one big fear with this player prop is the fact that Joe Ryan, even though he's not as strong versus left-handed batters as he is right-handed batters, he's still pretty good. So 220 batting average allowed is nothing to scoff at. So yes, it is better, but it's still not ideal. I do think with the run that Barger is on of late and the fact that he's hitting very well off of right-handed pitchers this year, I'm willing to go ahead and take the risk with this player prop as the second player prop in today's slate. All right, guys, our third player prop in today's slate. We're moving on to the Mets-Rockies game, 3:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Francisco Lindor of the New York Mets over 1.5 total bases. We're grabbing this for minus 145 over on DraftKings, but you can see there's a lot of options on varying sports books for varying odds for this player prop. Now, similar to the Addison Barger prop, the recent data is pretty strong here for Francisco Lindor. The overall season data, not so much. So looking at the last 10 games, 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.9 total bases per game over his last 10 games, that of course being a 70% hit rate. So pretty good numbers when looking at the last 10 data range. But now when you go ahead and stretch the numbers out, last 20 games, 45% hit rate, not great. And then the overall 2025 numbers, a 46% hit rate on the season, 29 out of 63 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 2 total bases per game this year, but quite a few more cashes on the under than the over for Francisco Lindor, which is not what you want to see technically. Now, the one data point here besides the last 10 data that I really love for Lindor for this player prop, and it's one of the reasons why I'm riding with it here, is the head-to-head numbers. Really solid data when playing the Colorado Rockies. 9 of his last 11 matchups with Colorado, dating back to last season, he's cashed the over. That's an 82% hit rate across 11 meetings with the Rockies, and he's averaging 3 total bases per game. But to be more specific, in 7 consecutive matchups with the Colorado Rockies, he's cashed the over. So on a really good run here versus Colorado. And to narrow it down even further, he's played the Rockies 5 times this year already. 100% hit rate this season against Colorado. So really good numbers so far this year. Back on May 30th, he had his best game, 9 total bases against them. Really solid performance. But then you look at the other ones, 2, 4. And then he's played them 2 days in a row. 2 on June 6th and 3 yesterday on June 7th. So pretty good numbers here versus the Rockies, especially being on the road in Colorado. He's cashed in 4 of his last 5 meetings in Colorado on the road. Obviously, the elevation probably helps with extra base hits. So I think it's a pretty good matchup in terms of that. Looking down below here, Lindor is hitting the ball pretty well this season, honestly. Again, we're talking about total bases. We're talking about, him getting extra base hits, multi-hit games, things of that nature. He is hitting the ball pretty well, though, and versus right-handed pitchers, he is slightly better than he is versus left-handed pitchers. 293 batting average, 315 BA, BIP. The extra base hit percentage literally goes up 0.3, but all pretty solid numbers, honestly, for Lindor. And then looking at Dollander, Chase Dollander, again, I hope I'm saying that right. 6.26 ERA is not great, but his batting average allowed is not terrible, 244. Looking at his numbers versus left-handed batters, some numbers go down and some go up. His ERA goes down, his extra base hit percentage goes down. That extra base hit percentage going down is a little bit of a worrisome there because obviously we're talking about him either needing to hit multiple singles or hit a double or a triple or a home run. So obviously that extra base hit percentage number going down a little bit is a little alarming, but his batting average allowed and slugging percentage in particular is the key thing here. They do go up. So I like the matchup for the most part. There are some worrying things. The overall numbers aren't great. I'd like the pitching matchup to be, it's not bad. It's a solid pitching matchup, but I'd like it to be a little bit better. But the track record versus the Rockies and his performance over the last 10 games to me are enough to convince me to go ahead and bet this player prop. That's our 3rd prop in today's video. And wrapping things up, guys, our 4th and final player prop in today's video. We're moving on to the Mariners-Angels game, 4:07 p.m. first pitch. We're going Mitch Garver of the Seattle Mariners under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're grabbing this one for -145 over on BetMGM. And the data on this one is solid across the board. There's no trouble with the overall data, no trouble with the recent data. Everything is really solid on this player prop. That's what you're getting for -145. Although, to be fair, the Lindor prop is also -145, so take that with a grain of salt. But 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.2 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 10, including 3 consecutive games he's cashed the under. Stretch the data out to the last 20 games, 75% hit rate, 15 of his last 20. He's cashed the under, averaging 0.85 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 20 games, so solid there. And even the overall numbers, a 74% hit rate on the season for Mitch Garver. 28 out of 38 games this year, he's cashed the under, averaging just one hit, run, RBI per game this year. And you see he's had a couple of decently large games, but he's cashing the under way more than he's cashing the over. Head-to-head data is also very strong. 6 of the last 9. Pause for applause. 6 of the last 9 matchups against the Angels, he's cashed the under. It's a 67% hit rate, averaging 1.56 hits, runs, RBIs per game against the Angels. He played 1 time this year on April 30th. He had 1 run, but no hits and no RBIs, which means it was a cash. And if you want to narrow it down a little bit, 5 of the last 6 matchups with the Angels, he's cashed the under. Again, you can kind of reword things to make it look better, but it is the truth, though. 5 of the last 6 matchups with the Angels, dating back to last year, he's cashed the under. Now, this little nugget is interesting here. The insight provided by Outlier, of course. By the way, guys, shout out to Outlier, the sponsor of today's video, and all my player prop videos here on the channel. The link is down below in the description. That gives you guys a 7-day free trial to go ahead and check it out. If you guys like anything you've seen in this video from a data standpoint, you're going to love Outlier. I'm only giving you guys a little taste of it, but there's so much more that Outlier provides. But I can't show you guys all in one video, so go ahead and check it out. Link down below in the description for a 7-day free trial. check it out for yourself. Special thank you to Outlier for sponsoring today's video and all my player prop videos here on the channel. But the insight provided by Outlier, Mitch Garver has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 15 of his last 19 games, averaging 0.8 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 19 games. That, of course, being a 79% hit rate. So really solid run here over the last 19-20 games for Mitch Garver. And looking down below at the key matchup stats, not a bad matchup here. Mitch Garver versus Tyler Anderson. 13 plate appearances since 2018, just a 167 batting average against Anderson. 2 hits off of him in 13 plate appearances. So pretty solid head-to-head data, and not a huge sample size, but a decent sample size when talking about pitching versus batting matchups. Mitch Garver this year batting 198 with a 77.8 WRC plus. Now he actually does hit better this year versus left-handed pitchers. A smaller sample size, of course, only 65 plate appearances this year versus lefties. But, and we kind of talked about this a few times in our videos, just because you see an increase doesn't always mean it's a bad data or a bad prop. It's increased, but even at the increased line, it's still not great. I made the analogy in our video earlier this week where it's like, yes, it's only 3-week expired meat versus 5-week expired meat. It's better for sure. 3 weeks is not as bad as 5 weeks. That's a scientific fact. But 3-week expired meat is still not probably safe to consume. Don't try it at home, kids, boys and girls, men and women, anything. Animals, humans, species of every kind don't consume raw meat or expired meat, just the FYI. But my point being that yes, 218 batting average is scientifically speaking better than 198, but it's still not a good number. So yes, although you do see red here, his WRC plus also goes up to 86. Those are not good numbers, so it's still a solid matchup, despite the fact that he is a slightly better hitter versus left-handed pitchers. He's still not a good hitter. And looking at Tyler Anderson, his numbers, some of his numbers go down. His ERA does slightly increase to 388, but I'm not too concerned. The batting average allowed drops to 200. That's really solid. Home runs per 9 and WOBA all decrease. Across the board, it's a phenomenal matchup. Probably the best player prop I've given out in today's video, if I'm being totally honest. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Also, make sure to check out my NBA Finals Game 2 video, which I dropped yesterday. I misspoke quite a bit yesterday's video saying that the game was yesterday. It is actually today. So you guys got just an early parlay. It still stands. I still love the data and everything. So I do apologize for the mistake there. But that video is already out. I will link it at the end of this video. So go ahead and check that out. We have a really solid 5-leg parlay with a little contest giveaway as well. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go ahead and check that video out. Rough week, but you know what? Hopefully we end it strong. We got a new week starting tomorrow. Let's have some positive momentum going into the new week and leave this crappy week behind us. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. Until next time, hope you're all winners. Let's go ahead and make some money, baby. Come on, we need it.